To order, please stand for the pledge. And Mr. Luna, if you lead us, please, in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Ms. Elcha?
Here.
Mr. Lindemann?
Here.
Mr. Ramos? Mr. Breen?
Here. Item D, approval of the minutes 1 through 3. Mr. Lindeman,
I move to approve the minutes 1, 2, and 3.
is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Smith, any discussion, members of the board? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos? Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item E, summary of current events, Ms. Samaniego, Superintendent.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, members of our community, and staff. A few things, just want to report in an effort to really highlight some employee celebrations, staff morale. We've initiated some things that have taken place in the month of October, so I thought it was important to highlight them. October was National Principals Month, and so I had a breakfast with the principals, and we had important discussions, but it was also a time to celebrate our principals. It was also HR Professionals National Month, and so we celebrated and honored our HR staff and thanked them for their outstanding work that they continue to do for all of our staff. And we also had Custodial National Day towards middle of October, so we brought them in, had a staff meeting, and told them that they were all being moved campuses, and then surprised them with a breakfast luncheon and honored them and gave them a certificate of recognition for all of our custodians and our maintenance and ground staff, because overall they take care of our buildings and our schools. And to continue with that, during the month of November, we have our schools are adopting a department. And so for the month of November, they are showing their gratitude to our departments, and that ranges in all of our supporting departments, because oftentimes they're the ones that don't get left behind. They don't get to participate in the school celebrations and all of that. So we have that going on. And to initiate this year, I will be starting an employee recognition called Superintendent's GEM Award. And the GEM Award is something that I wanted to do to really showcase an employee who has demonstrated extreme professionalism, dedication, hard work, ethics, and who just represents that gem, esa joya that we have here at DUSD. And we will be having nominations. And so for this first time, it brings me great joy and honor to have Jessica, our custodian that works here at Douglas Unified School District Office, be the first recipient of the Superintendent's GEM Award. And we really want to thank her because she is a gem. If you've ever been to district office, you see her picking up trash outside. You see her mopping the stairs, cleaning the stairs. There is not one moment that this young lady goes just without doing remarkable work, and it shows extremely well. She's been sent to help in the maintenance department, and she does it with great joy. So, Jessica Reese, may you please come up to receive your, be the first recipient of our Superintendent's GEM Award. I'm going to go down to my board. I don't know if you want to say anything, but
Felicidades.
so this says Douglas Unified School District Superintendent's GEM Award presented to Jessica Reese for being an extraordinary employee and going the extra mile. Y para tu regalo es una joya preciosa. Muchas gracias. So this is your GEM Award. Felicidades. Gracias.
Congratulations.
First thing I did is I didn't recognize her.
Felicidades. Muchas gracias por todo.
And number two, while she's being congratulated, she should be the person that puts on in-service training and seminars for all the other custodians in the district, to be honest with you. She's more than deserving that award. All right, you want to continue with your?
Yes. Felicidades, Jessica. Felicidades, papás. And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting, Jessica, but you're welcome to. We also have just, let me see, a few other announcements. We have Kids at Hope Month is this November, and so we are having a couple art projects essay contests for kids, and want to remind everybody about Cochise College Family Night, which is taking place tomorrow at 4:30. You can bring your parents, children, high school. They're going to have food. You can meet athletes and financial aid information. So it's for all students of the district. So let's help support Cochise College. All right, and that's all I have for today.
All right, do you have under the superintendent's report, you have Clausen Elementary,
Yes,
Corey Moen?
they're coming up, yes.
So would you want to recognize her and
Yes,
introduce
so
us?
also, I wanted to really bring back a student emphasis to our board meetings. And so at every board meeting, we will be having a school highlighted. It could be a student-related project. They may bring students. I think it's important for the board to see what our schools are doing, our teachers are doing, and our students are learning. So tonight's first presentation is Clausen Elementary, Mrs. Corey Moen, and with some students.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Oh, that's really loud. Sorry. Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Ms. Samaniego, and district office. So we are going to put a little presentation on for you. This is my student council president, and she's actually doing the presentation for me. I will start it off, and then I'll turn it over to her. The next slide. Okay, thank you. So this year, our leadership team, we implemented a little take on PBIS with everything we've been training through PACS and through PBIS. And there are 3 areas within this focus that we're going to talk to you about today. It's our Panther tickets, our positive lunch, and our attendance challenge. So here to talk to you about this is our student council president, Adamaris Tapia.
This year, students can earn Panthers tickets. They are different colors because every grade level has a different color. If a staff member catching us being kind, safe, responsible, and respectful, we can earn a ticket. All these tickets are collected on Friday. Teachers will pull out a winner for a small prize. At the end of the quarter, all of our tickets are collected into these jugs, and Ms. Moen pulls out 4 winners from each jug for a big prize. Positivity lunch. Lunch grade levels are in competition with each other. Whoever is being the most safe, responsible, respectful, and kind, they will earn a palm. At the end of the quarter, the food service department brings the winner grade level a specialized lunch. Last month, we got specialized pizza and dessert. It was delicious. All the Panthers want to say thank you to food service. Thank you, DUSD Child Neutral Department. Attendance challenge. We also have an attendance challenge. If a class got perfect attendance, you get to put a star on a challenge board. Every day, Ms. Moens announced the classrooms who has perfect attendance. Then a student is sent to the office to put a star on their color. At the end of the quarter, that class wins an ice cream party. Last month, my class won for the ice cream party.
Thank you, Adamaris. Up next is just some pictures of our RTI that we've done. We've purchased these really nice whiteboard horseshoe tables that the kids can write on and everything. And I couldn't find a picture with them writing on it, but this is just a little bit of snapshot of our RTI that we're doing with all our students. It's a lot of small group practice we're doing with our kids in our RTI just to support our students, from our low kids to our middle kids to our high kids. And then we've also really taken an emphasis with our letters, and we've been focusing on phonics and phonemic awareness. And this is just a really short video of one of my first grade teachers in action of some of the things that we're doing in our classrooms.
Pieces of words together. Okay, word parts. Say oat. Add foot. Say ache. Add break. Say all. Add what? Say art. Add tart. Say art. Add tar. Do you know what tar is? It's some black stuff that it's very hot and nasty, and you can put it on roofs, I think.
Roofs and
streets.
the streets.
Also, it's black hot, sticky stuff. Okay, keep going. Out. Say add out. Good job. Up. Add cut. It. Add hit. Last one. Eat. Add feet. Good job. Okay, say the word beast. Without b, you have east. John. Without j, you have ran. Without and. Tall. Without heel. Without feel. Without damp. Without d. So. Without mask. Without ask.
So those are just some little highlights that is happening around our campus. We welcome you guys to come check out anytime you like to come and see what's going on. We welcome you to our campus, and I'd like to say thank you, Frada Maris, for being here up here with me today, and thank you for letting us present a little bit of what's happening at our school. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Corey, so much for being here, and especially that young lady. You did an outstanding job. I mean, you did a really, really good job, so you should be very proud of yourself. You make Ms. Moen proud and the school proud, okay? Thank you.
So if your
Thank
class
you for being
wins,
here.
if your class wins again, tell nutrition department to make you some steak. Don't choke, Mr. Soto. And next, we have Ms. Martha Alonso and her host of students with the presentation.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and members of the public. I am here to present our HOSA members. This week is HOSA week, and so they've prepared a little presentation for you. So the officers are actually going to present themselves.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Superintendent Samaniego, and members of the public. My name is Evelyn Urquides, and I am the Biomedical Chapter President.
Good evening, my name is Valeria Manriquez, and I am the Biomedical Chapter Vice President.
Good evening, my name is Rosie Teran, and I am the Biomedical Chapter Secretary.
Good evening, my name is Jania Diaz, and I am the Biomedical Chapter Treasurer.
Good evening, my name is Alex Hernandez, and I'm the Biomedical Chapter Reporter.
Good evening, my name is Naomi Urias, and I'm historian.
Good evening, my name is Michelis Cruz, and I am the Biomedical Chapter Secretary's Assistant.
Good evening, my name is Sarib Rodriguez, and I'm the Biomedical Chapter Parliamentarian.
The week of November 6 to 10 marks the official HOSA Week nationwide. To make this date official, we have a HOSA Week proclamation, which we ask that you sign into effect today.
As the parliamentarian, I will read the HOSA Week proclamation. Whereas HOSA Future Health Professionals is a career and technical student organization for high school, post-secondary, and middle school students who plan to pursue a health and career, and whereas HOSA serves as a pipeline of future health professionals, and whereas HOSA provides a strong foundation for preparing tomorrow's healthcare professionals through skill development, leadership opportunities, and community service, and whereas health science education and HOSA support and encourage students whose interests lie in pursuing a health career, thereby helping to alleviate a national shortage of health workers, and whereas HOSA promotes the development of responsible citizenship, personal integrity, and compassion for humanity, therefore I do designate November 5th through 10th, 2023 as HOSA Week.
To provide you and the public with a better picture of what HOSA is, our reporter has prepared a short video that we would like to play for you now.
The HOSA Leadership Camp is an entire new experience in which students can understand the meaning of HOSA and connect with other members of the community. Not only that, but it also allows members to complete exciting challenges within the adventure.
HOSA's Leadership Camp not only allows members to gain new experiences, but it encourages them to get out of their comfort zones. It gives them the opportunity to interact with other leaders and share their experiences.
Fall leadership conferences are a set of conventions that recruit all officers to teach them and help them improve their skills and knowledge about how to be better leaders for our communities.
Applying for state officer was one of the best decisions I made as a HOSA member. I learned not only to challenge myself, but to face my fears and be confident in myself that I can do what I set my mind to do. I met so many amazing people and made experiences I'll never forget.
Regionals for HOSA is our next step after Douglas qualifies to see who gains the opportunity to go to state. Service project teams compete first in Douglas, and if they qualify, they go to regionals. Top 5 competitors from regionals go to state. HOSA regionals is important as it determines who goes to compete at state, which is our next level of competition.
State Leadership Conference brings together aspiring healthcare professionals from across the state, fostering an environment of camaraderie and learning. Students engage in a wide array of competitive events, allowing them to showcase their medical knowledge and skills while gaining invaluable experience. SLC not only offers a platform for honing medical expertise, but also promotes leadership, teamwork, and a sense of belonging within the HOSA community, making it a transformative experience for young healthcare enthusiasts.
HOSA International Leadership Council allows HOSA biomedical members to get out of their community to interact with other people, but at the same time to proudly represent their school.
¿Te pasó esto?
HOSA is an organization that empowers the next generation of healthcare professionals through education, leadership development, and real-world experiences. Every 2 years, HOSA partners with an organization as a service project. This year is Be the Match, which is operated by the National Marrow Donor Program. Be the Match connects patients with the matching donor for a life-saving blood stem transplant. As a part of our participation, over 60 members have joined our team and are committed to serving the community.
We hosted an informational booth at the county fair and other community events like Energize Douglas. At these events, our goal was to recruit donors who were willing to register with Be the Match. We walked them through the process and asked them to swap their cheeks. We also asked for donations, especially when people are not eligible but want to help. We were able to register 46 people and raise around $500, which is half our goal of the year. It has been one of our most significant goals as a chapter, and now the Biomedical HOSA team is one of the top teams nationally.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about tomorrow and invite all of you. So tomorrow at Douglas High School, we are hosting our CT Showcase. And the CT Showcase is centered to take freshmen and sophomores during school time to see all of their options for CTE, and band and art are going to be there as well. And this is an attempt for them to register to classes that they actually know what's going on and what they're teaching. After school from 2 to 4, it's open to the public, and so all the junior highs in town have been invited to come and see the different programs. The officers will be there to talk about biomedical classes and HOSA, and so will all the officers and of all the other CTSOs, as well as our band director and our art teacher. And so we would like to extend our invitation for you to join us from 2 to 4 at the high school gym.
We would like to thank you for your time, and we would like to let you know that we're really grateful for your support.
Thank you.
Well, we want to thank you for your time, and as always, we're very proud of this organization. Members of the board, any comments, questions? Any questions regarding the program? Martha, thank you. Again, as usual, very, very impressive. By the way, what does the parliamentarian do? What does he actually do?
I have to make sure the meeting runs smoothly and make sure we use proper procedures.
Who is she's the president, and you're the vice president?
And actually, Evelyn and Ariela, and I think the two of them are part of our Parley Pro team. Evelyn was actually in the team that won 8th place at nationals 2 years ago. So we have quite a bit of parliamentarian expertise.
Very good, very good. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now you have a proclamation signed by Mr. Brain.
Members of the board?
Come to the end because you're really.
Can we get all the board members in?
Yeah. That's why we moved Sadiq, because he's. All right, how's the kids like cheerleader spots? There we go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you very much.
You know Sadid, don't you?
Number E2, governing board members, any reports? Mr. Lindeman.
If I may, I just wanted to mention that one of our former employees has passed away, Mr. Fred Segovia. So,
Ms. Salchow, do you have anything?
Last Thursday, I was really excited to attend the county ASPA meeting with Mrs. Samaniego and Ms. Lama Valenzuela and Mr. Kevin Smith. And it's always really interesting to see. Our numbers were small this adventure, but it was good to see kind of what's happening in the county and make contact with people who are also on the school board in the other places.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, anything to report?
No.
Item F, school activity report. Mr. Victor Luna, student body president.
Good evening, Mr. President Brain, Superintendent Samaniego, members of the board, and members of the public. The activity report at Douglas High School and at DUSD schools for the month of November is as follows. We have some exciting news to share about our students and staff at Douglas High School. Congratulations to our state qualifiers in swim and cross country. Way to represent Douglas High School at state. Mr. Benjamin Loretto was showcased by Kagan 9 News, living up to the motto, once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog. He leads our music and band program, and we are excited about the enthusiasm and passion he brings to Douglas High School. As for what is going on in the district, Thanksgiving break for all schools is the week of November 20th through the 25th. Middle school sports for girls soccer and boys basketball have started this quarter, and Douglas High School winter sports begin this month. At Douglas High School, November 8th, which is tomorrow, we will have our CTE showcase. November 9th will be our PTSO meeting. November 15th, we have a movie event by DHS Film Skills USA. We will be showing the movie Freebird. November 17th, we will have Time Traveler Dress Up Day. Dress like your future self. November 29th, we have the Douglas HOSA Regional Qualifiers. At Rayburn Middle School. Rayburn Middle School will have their Veterans Day Assembly on Wednesday, November 8th at 8:30 a.m. At Paul Huber Middle School. Folklorico performed early November throughout our Douglas community. The theme was Dia de los Muertos. If you haven't seen our Folklorico perform yet, they will be at the Cochise College Douglas Family Night, November 8th at 4:30 p.m. at Cochise College Douglas campus, in front of the Student Union. At Clausen Elementary School. Thank you to everyone who contributed to our School Ofrendas and for those who came to view them. Thank you to Huber Folklorico for being a part of our Dia de los Muertos event. The school spelling bee will be held on November 29th, 2023. Student Council Veterans Day presentation will be held on Monday, November 13th at 9 a.m. Class and Student Council will participate in the Christmas Parade on November 25th, 2023. At Stevenson Middle School. The school spelling bee will be held on Wednesday, November 29th. Stevenson Elementary will participate in the Christmas Parade on November 25th. At Joe Carlson. Joe Carlson's award assembly will be held on November 9th for all pre-K to 5th grade students. They will also be participating in this year's Christmas Parade. And Joe Carlson has begun to implement a Cubs PAW system in order to recognize the PAC's leadership of Joe Carlson students and classrooms. At Sarah Marley Elementary School. Sarah Marley had their first quarter awards assembly on Tuesday, November 7th. They will also be holding a second grade presentation for parents on Tuesday, November 14th. And finally, at Ferris Elementary School, Ferris celebrated All Souls Day with a student-created altar offering honorings to their loved ones. Thank you to Ms. Gemma German and her Folklorico dancers from Huber Middle School for performing. Progress reports for quarter 2 will be sent out on Wednesday, November 15th. And finally, all students at Ferris will receive a free book to take home just in time for Thanksgiving break, thanks to their participation in the Books Are Fun Book Blast program.
Thank you so much for that. Continue with the reports, Mr. Slipper.
Good evening, Mr. President, board members, Ms. Samaniego. This is the report, the balance report for the month of October. And as we talked in the previous meetings, we're going to have a budget revision in our next board meeting in December. again, just to reflect the enrollment that we have now, and we're gonna hear from Mrs. Cox about the enrollment. Still losing students slowly, not as bad as it was in the beginning of the year. But again, we're hoping that this will be the last of it. But again, I have to reflect that on the budget with the budget revision next month. And there's another one that needs to be done before the end of the school year, probably February, March or April. But again, like I said, hopefully we're not going to be having these loss of enrollment. I don't know if you have a specific question. Again, these balances as of the month of October, once I do the revision, they're going to change, obviously, because I'm going to have to allocate. Now the revenue is going to decrease because of the number of students that we're going to have then. Again, specific questions, concerns. I know we've been talking about every board meeting about the loss of enrollment. Again, I know the New Student Center is working on having interviews with the families as much as they can. But I've seen the trend that is most of those students are like leaving town, and people are leaving town mostly for work. So unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that. Questions, comments?
Members of the board, any questions regarding the budget or anything affiliated with his office?
I just have one quick question. I know we've discussed the personnel bus drivers before. Any light on that? Hiring new bus drivers?
Yes, we actually have one in this agenda, a lady with a lot of experience in the valley, in the Phoenix area. So we're hoping that she's going to be able to start right away. At this point, we still have 1.5 vacancies. As you remember, Mr. Moody finally retired. He was our part-time driver. So we have that vacancy and one more. So we're still working on that, but the other ones already passed. We had yesterday the activity buses arrived, the ones that we purchased from Oklahoma. So we have 2 new activity buses and 1 yellow mini bus. Again, if you remember, those activity buses can be driven by anybody as long as they have a regular driver's license. The yellow one, it's people don't need a CDL, but they have to go through the training if you had a CDL. With the yellow ones, we can claim miles. With the white ones, we cannot. So again, we're just hoping that this is going to alleviate a little bit the issues with, especially with the athletic trips, that coaches can drive those mini buses.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Southside, do you have any questions regarding any of that?
No, I don't.
Mr. Smith?
Thank you.
Along those lines, the buses, I was going to ask her, but we had informally discussed to get a legal opinion, and not only a formal opinion from the trust, but then hopefully they would pass it on to the Attorney General's for an
Correct.
Attorney General's opinion. Did you do that?
I did.
You did?
So I'm
Okay.
waiting, I will wait. So as the board knows, this whole van situation and the ambiguity with the law and the gray area of, what it really means. So we've been working with the attorneys to try to get some legal advice, and they did give us legal advice in writing, which states that the law wasn't really intended not to prevent us from using the 11 to 15 passenger vans, but that it is, best practice to be able to move forward in that direction. And because other districts that are in the same situation, and this really affects the rural school districts more than anybody, are still utilizing them because they don't have any other way to get kids to events or be picked up from home and to school and back. The other part of that, with that legal opinion, was also for them to check with the trust. And so my question to the legal counsel was, okay, so if it wasn't intended to prevent us from using it, will the trust cover us in case there's an accident if we choose to use an 11 to 15 passenger van, let's say for an athletic trip? And the answer was, again, not a yes nor or a no. from the trust. All situations, all accidents, all insurance claims are taken on a case-by-case basis. But the trust did say, again, refer to the law and avoid using the vans. And so now I have asked for a, what Mr. Borain said, legal, formal opinion. And if the attorney will say yes or no, then, then get something from the Auditor General who can cite this and move forward, because it is impacting, school districts such as ours.
The Attorney
The
General.
Attorney General.
What,
So-
board members, what's going on here is there's so much ambiguity, as she said, about, if you talk to the trust, they say, it's your decision, do whatever you think. Well, that's no way for us to operate with all of the potential liability that's out there, especially drivers and student transportation. So we discussed it, and I thought it was in the best interest of the district for her to get a legal opinion from the trust and let them say one way or the other definitively, yes, you can, no, you can't. And then the process there is, normally, is that they will forward that opinion to the Attorney General's office, and then the Attorney General's office will either concur, revise, and that way, once we have that formal opinion from the Attorney General's office, which it should go that far, then we can operate either using them or not using them, depending on what the Attorney General says. Because when the Attorney General issues the opinion, then it is the law until it's challenged in court. And so the main thing is that we're shielded, and that the administration not be liable there, making one day one decision, yes, you can drive that one, the next day, no. That's no way to operate, especially when you're talking student transportation. So that's where we are with that. All right, any questions or comments regarding that? All right. Did you have anything else you
No.
wanted to add to that? Ms. Cox, you want to move forward then with your human resources report?
So good evening, Mr. Brain, board members, community, and staff. Okay, so as Mr. Soto said, our current enrollment as of today is 3,738. Our ADM is at 3,479. I think last month it was at 3,492. So it's decreased a little bit. For October, we had 42 new entries into the district, but we had 43 withdrawals. So we're one short there. And we continue to do an ongoing process of surveying parents when they leave, and that's how we know that most of our parents are leaving due to jobs or moving out of town. In terms of HR and teachers, our administrators are currently conducting observations of all of our teaching staff. Probationary teachers, which are 3 years or less, are due this Thursday, November 9th. Our continuing teachers are due by December 8th, so they're working hard to get those done. And that's what I have.
Members of the board, any questions regarding that report? No. Thank you, all of you, for those reports, especially you, Mr. Luna. It was outstanding. Very good.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Very thorough. Do anybody wants to address the board?
No, sir.
Consent agenda, item 2A, approval of the following consent agenda items. Number 1, payroll and expense vouchers 1 through 3. Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
By Mr. Lindeman, second. Second by Ms. Salchow. Any discussion, members of the board? Administration, anything you want to add regarding that? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item 3A, discussion, information on the Douglas High School construction update. Ms. Samaniego.
We just finished our weekly meeting with the team. There's not much of an update or changes other than looking at the end of November. There's been a potential punch list already issued by the architect to AMP for last minute things that they need to take care of. But at this point, We're still looking at end of November. Mr. Soto finished the meeting so that I could come back into the boardroom. Did they say anything after I
No,
logged
nothing.
off?
Again, we're just discussing that Rob is going to be here tomorrow
Okay.
to actually look at that punch list and potentially, most likely, adding more items to that list. That was it. Nothing major.
Members of the board, any questions regarding the, was that it? Was that it?
Yeah, not much new.
I don't have any specific
Yeah.
questions.
Did you say Rob's gonna be here tomorrow?
Yes.
Right. Is he still gonna do that pilon for the district and get that drawing for us on the front of the gym?
We'll talk about it.
I hope so.
So-
You keep saying that, we never get any results now, not from you, not from you, from Rob. He's supposed to do that,
Thank you.
Item B, discussion action on the approval of certified hires. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, you have a few after-school program teachers, emergency subs, and a couple teachers to the district.
Entertain a motion to approve.
I move to approve the certified hires.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Members of the board, discussion? Anything you want to add or comment regarding any of those hires?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item C, discussion action on the approval of classified hires.
Okay.
Ms. Samaniego.
I will say as presented with the exception of Reyes Lopez, who was being recommended as ESS instructional aide. He is not accepting the position.
Okay, entertain a motion to approve that list with
I
the
move to
exception of Reyes Lopez.
I move to approve the classified hires with the exception of Reyes Lopez.
Second,
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, any discussion? Anything by Ms. Cox regarding the human resources? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes, item D, discussion action on the approval of athletic, I'm sorry.
Mr. Barrena, I've just been informed that we do have a new hire here in
Okay.
in our
Mr.
boardroom,
Fleming.
and so we would like to, who's here? You want to come up to introduce yourself, please?
Good evening, my name's Jesus Elig. For the past 20 years, I've been working for the Department of Corrections. I'll be ready to retire in the next 2 weeks, and I'll be working as security at Ray Brain Middle School, which is one of the schools I attended. Like I told Ms. Cox, it's going to bring back a lot of good memories.
Well, it's, you know,
Yes, good.
propitious that you mentioned that because that adds a bonus to
Yes.
you.
To being hired.
You said all the right things. I don't know if you prepped for that or not, but you said all the right things. No, we're very glad to have you
Have you.
aboard. Thank you,
Welcome.
especially because you've been down there yourself as a student. I'm sorry.
So welcome to the team.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be part of the team. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you in
Thank
2
you.
weeks. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, did you have any more?
No, that's, I
Oh,
don't
okay.
think, so we're on D.
All right, discussion action on the approval of athletic hires, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented.
Motion to approve
I move to approve the athletic hire.
by Mr. Lindemann, second.
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Members of the board, any discussion regarding that hire?
When does the basketball season start, actually? I know Mr. Luna said it was this month, but is there a specific date?
And you know, I really should know this. I have been out, however, the past week. I am a basketball event manager, so I really should know this.
That's funny.
We will let it slide since you've been out on school business.
Are you still a manager after that comment?
Mr. Vidal, when does basketball start?
So officially, it starts on the 28th. There's still some changes going on where we're canceling some of the games and moving them over to tournaments happening during the beginning of the month and
Okay.
towards the end. So the first games start on the 28th. Soccer also begins on the 28th.
Thank you.
Got that, Victor? Thank you, Mr. Vidal, for that. All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item E, discussion, action on the approval of certified resignation or retirement. Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, and one is a resignation, one's a retirement. The resignation is just for the after-school program. The teacher's still continuing with us. And Ms. Dina Guzman retiring at the end of this school year. Dina has been employed the following, 2024. And she's been a longtime employee of our BMS.
Motion to approve, Mr. Lindemann.
I move to approve the certified resignation and retirement.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, any discussion?
I would just like to congratulate Ms. Guzman for her years of service to our district, and we wish her well.
Yes.
Anything you want to add, Ms. Cox? And Ms.
No,
Almeida?
I worked with Dina when I was an assistant principal there and then principal, and then she left, and then, people leave and then they come back, so we wish her well.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item F, discussion, action on the approval of classified resignation and retirement. Ms. Samaniego.
You have a combination of both. I do want to mention a special thanks and recognition to Lucinda Manjares, who is retiring after 27 years in the district. And most recently, she was a parent liaison at Rayburn Middle School. And so we want to wish her well and thank her for her years of service.
Yeah, and also from
And-
the board, best wishes to her as well from the board. Let's get a motion on the floor, Mr.
I move to approve the classified resignations and retirements.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. On the first bullet there, there was some things of interest in that letter of resignation. Have they been addressed?
Yes.
You know specifically what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Members of the board, do you have any, I don't know if you saw that letter as well, but there was some issues there that should have really been, the administration should have really been sensitive to.
Yes.
So you did pick up on it and you've addressed it?
Yes,
All right.
definitely.
All right, anything else you want to add?
No.
Anything else, members of the board?
I'd just like to say I worked with Ms. Manjares for a long time. I worked with her at Huber, and then she was over at Rayburn Middle School, and our district will really miss her.
Yes.
Thank
And you will see her in the near future as a volunteer
That's good.
approval. She wants to come back and volunteer.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes, item G, discussion action on the approval addendums, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, these are for Douglas High School.
Let's get a motion, Mr.
I move to approve the addendums.
Is there a second?
I second.
Why are we getting those now?
Because nobody had taken that initiative to sponsor that organization. So Mrs. Rodriguez just submitted the names as soon as they had somebody willing to take it on. Because these are, volunteer positions. Not volunteer, well, they're volunteer, but they get a stipend for it.
Well, then they're not a volunteer. if they
No,
get
yes,
that-
they're-
No, I'm just kidding.
You
I'm
can't,
just
you
kidding.
can't expect
And
people to do it.
There's two of them, right?
They're splitting
And
it.
they're gonna split the.
They're gonna
they're
split,
the
yes.
duties?
Mhm.
All right, we have a motion on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Members of the board, any questions?
No.
Any discussion regarding any of that?
No.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item H, discussion action on the approval of increase in hours, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, these are due to servicing our special ed children.
Mr. Lindemann, can I get a
Move to
motion?
approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
By Mr. Smith. Anything that administration wants to add regarding that? Members of the board? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Bereen?
Yes. Item I, discussion, information only for classified internal transfer, Ms. Samaniego.
Yes, that's just information, so it's on the record, no change in pay. Custodian is moving to full-time at Stevenson.
Any questions regarding that, members of the board?
Well, I'd just like to ask, when we move this person over to Stevenson, does that create a vacancy elsewhere?
Mrs. Cox?
Yes, it does, and they've already interviewed and have a candidate for that position. Okay, and I think we approved that position.
Any further discussion, members of the board? Questions? Item J, discussion action on the approval of University of Arizona Pathway Program students. Ms. Samaniego.
These are the students that will be accepted, that have been accepted by U of A Pathway Teacher Program, and they have to do some hours in the classroom, observation hours, before they initiate the program. So these are future teachers.
And there was quite a bit of backup
Yes.
information on it on the agenda. Mr. Lindeman,
Move to approve.
second
Second.
by Ms. Salchow. Any further discussion? Members of the board? Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Salcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
yes,
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Item K, discussion action on the approval of donations received for Douglas Unified School District number 27, Ms. Samaniego.
As presented, you have all the information there. You have some APS grants, and we have a donation of $150 to Douglas High School, basketball jerseys to Paul Huber Middle School. DHS golf team is getting $1,000, a $1,000 donation to Paul Huber Middle School Folklorico, and donation of folders and supplies in the estimated value of $100 to the district. And last but not least, a donation of children's books for second grade classrooms from the Douglas Education Partnership Council for Literacy Improvement Initiative, estimated a value of $2,013. And our elementary principals have reviewed the books that they're going to be donating, and they're going to be going to our 12 second grade classrooms.
Mr. Lindeman, get a motion?
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, members of the board? Under the basketball jerseys, the district does provide uniforms and equipment for those schools, correct?
We provide a budget for the schools to make those purchases, correct?
But it's not specifically an athletic budget per se, right? And the principals get an allocation, and they can spend whatever they want to.
Correct. For
Towards
those
that
activities.
if they want to.
Yes, sir.
With the new programs that we have at the middle schools, this is the second year, right?
Second or third?
Second or third? Second, yeah.
Yeah, with ESSER.
So you've got basketball, soccer, what else
All of the
you have
sports.
everything, right? How can a principal, if they, let's say, they get an allocation, right? If they submit a budget to you, do they submit a budget, or you just give them an allocation?
I just give them the allocation, and then
Do they
I
submit
see
a
the
budget?
requisitions, correct?
And then they submit a budget, tell you what they're gonna spend it on, or?
No, well, depending on the sport, sometimes they do need more supplies for a certain sport than another one. So they have, the allocation for the coach stipends are separate, so that's, then they have an allocation to purchase whatever supplies they need, or if they need uniforms, they can purchase those uniforms.
Yeah, I'm not gonna imply anything, but I'm sure that with the individual pride of the principal regarding their athletic programs, that especially when school gets new uniforms, shouldn't there be a administrative policy that for all uniforms, that say that there's a turnover, or every 3 years, or whatever it ought to be, that the district should pay for it?
Like the rotation?
Yeah,
we can
because,
implement that.
because if you make that part of the principal budget, and they've got so many other things they have to look at, right? And if this board's gonna support athletics, and obviously we did because we approved it 3 years ago, right? There should be an allocation for athletics, and that's for boys and girls, because you have boys and girls soccer, you Yeah, boys and girls basketball, right?
Baseball.
So it's just something to consider, and I don't know how the board feels about that, but, yeah, did you have,
Well, I wanted to know, on the budget for the schools and the administration, is there a line item for athletics for each at the middle school? Because this is a middle school. Or does the principal have to pull
it's
it out of just the
discretionary,
general?
what he just
Okay.
got through saying,
Right.
it's discretionary.
The difference it makes is the way we code it, and I'm talking about
Sure.
accounting wise. So when you buy supplies for instruction, it's
Right.
Sure.
program 100, and when it's athletics, it's 620. So there's a line item there where it's an allocation for 620, which is the athletic portion of it. So on a way, yes, there is an allocation specifically or a line item where they can move that item if they want supplies or if they want uniforms, then we can move that money from within.
Do you know if the uniforms were, the current uniforms the students have been using were old or, misused, worn out?
I don't have that information, and normally when a principal needs uniforms or needs anything more, they would contact. In the past, like we did it for our BMS a few years ago. We did it, I think, at Huber also a few years ago. So, but I haven't been contacted by the principal. I don't know if you have. But normally, if they need something, I feel confident that they know that they can reach to Mr. Soto and say, hey, there's not enough money in our budget, and our uniforms are in really, really bad shape. And I think that's why you see maybe Mr. Martin is here. I don't know what knowledge he has about his Huber uniforms for basketball. He's being the new you want to come up, please? And then there's Ms. La Madrid for our BMS.
Good evening, Board, Mr. President. The information that I have is that the uniforms that they have, some of them are really small, and so they're getting new uniforms because it doesn't fit the students. So that's the reason why they went with that. And the uniforms that we did have are old. So that's what I have.
Okay. Rodna, is Rodna back there?
Yes.
And all due respect, and I know you're in the position's your first year, but you've been there. But Rodna, you've been down there a while.
Yes.
You get your budget from Mr. Soto.
Absolutely, and I have to attest to Mr. Soto's flexibility with us. I'll give you an example. In the years prior, we've had very difficulty in finding refs and umpires to come and ref and ump our games. We have had to, when we go independent, it's a whole mess of paperwork that we have to turn in. They're W-9s. It's just, it was very difficult. Randy Walker, before the end of last year, brought to us and to Mr. Soto an idea of maybe seeing if we can maybe reach out to Cochise Sports. And this is a gentleman who has AIA refs and umps that come and ref and ump our games. Based on that, we talked with Mr. Soto. He adjusted the budget with the athletics so that we wouldn't have to look for our umps and our refs. We could know and be guaranteed that we'd have umps and refs at our games. So when it comes to athletics, I'm going to tell you that Mr. Soto has been very supportive, as well as district admin, in helping. What we do for our uniforms last year, because we had softball and baseball for the first year last year, we focused on that would be where we would use the money to purchase new uniforms for softball and for baseball. We did have, I believe it was either boys or girls basketball uniforms that were a couple of years old, going on 3 years old. We also said, okay, so we rotate the uniforms. We look at the wear and tear of the uniforms, and every year we pick, okay, this is a sport we're focusing on. So for example, this year we won't need to buy our baseball and softball uniforms because they're still in good condition. So now we're going to move to focus on the next sport that we need to purchase the uniforms for. So when it comes to allocating and the money that we need, if we need a little bit more or if we have a discrepancy, Mr. Soto has always been willing to help us to see where we can get the funds so that we can continue to support our athletics at the middle schools.
I'm not suggesting board members that they get an athletic budget at the middle school.
Right.
I'm
We
just
don't.
saying, my question is what he gives you, it would seem to me that it wouldn't be adequate to, with all of the requirements and needs you need for instructional materials and things of that nature, that then you've got all this athletic stuff, and you say, this stuff is, like you said, it's being worn, and it's time to get rid of it. It's just something that, let's just leave it at this, that the board, that the administration discuss it with you, and then they come back with, if it's reasonable, not that they're going to, they're not premier teams, of course.
Right,
They're
right.
middle school, but that they be proud of what they wear and not
Absolutely.
embarrassed about what they're wearing compared
Absolutely.
to other schools. And now I understand they're even traveling, the middle schools now. And of course, representing Douglas, we don't want them, obviously, and I don't even say
I
it,
think a
right?
lot of it is the planning, it comes back on the planning on our part
Okay.
as to what the needs are, and I'm just gonna be honest. I'll tell you, we made the assumption, for our basketball, or for our, girls soccer team, we have some that are sizes that are too small. So now we're adjusting, okay, what do we need to do to ensure that we have the right sizes? Because sizes vary, obviously, from year to year. But I'm gonna tell you, anytime that I've needed something and I said, Caesar, we need a little bit more because of, he finds us the money. We just have to rationalize why, and we do an inventory, everything that we get, we do inventory and look at the condition of it. We also have a district, like at the high school, they do have the student athletic book, and in there it does talk about damage to the uniform, and you're held responsible if it's not taken care of and things like that. But we do order from Epic Sports. We order from the typical sporting gear or other vendors that would typically be, we order from.
Okay, and then the other thing is that and you mentioned at the high school, I was gonna ask, do they hand you down anything? Do they give you any equipment?
They're really good at, and I thank Mr. Vidal for that, for our track and field, because we don't have that many members from both schools. Come Q4, when there's track and field, we combine RBMS and Huber to make one team. This is what we did last year, so we didn't have enough for all the events. And so instead of having two different type of uniforms, it didn't make sense because they're technically competing as one. The high school did give us uniforms for track and field. And they also lend us, obviously, the field itself. And they have volunteers from track and field, participants from the high school that set things up and help with whatever is going on for
Thank you
whatever we
very
need
much.
help with.
Very
Okay?
good, thank you
Thank you.
both.
I have a question.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Is there ever a time that the parents or the student participating is asked to purchase their own?
No, what we do is, if they would like to keep their jersey, that's not purchased with school funds. The team, as a team, says, hey, we all like our own jersey, and if they'd like to purchase that jersey, that's the way they do it, but it is not done with district funds. But they do have an opportunity, like, for example, the girls, volleyball, girls volleyball, all of them wanted their own jerseys. They used ours, they used the schools for the home games. The away games, they had their own personal jersey. But the only way the coach agreed to it is if everyone was able to purchase it. We had 3 girls that couldn't purchase it on their own, and he and the PTSO pitched in to help those families that couldn't purchase their own.
So there was a time that the parents were asked to
They weren't
provide their
asked.
own.
The team asked. It was a team decision that they wanted, like like the regular jerseys, like to wear for away games, kind of like what the high school does, purchase like the away gear to show this is like RBMS and so forth. Yes, but we don't ask. They're the ones, parents came and approached the coach and said, hey, we'd like to do this. Is there any way that we could, if we're willing, could we purchase our own? And I talked to the coach and I said, as long as we didn't use the funding that we get from the district.
Other members of the board, any questions or comments regarding that? Mr. Smith? I want to clarify one thing too, especially since you're the one that is getting this donation, which prompted the conversation. You know that those donations are going to the school, they're not going to the individual boys, right? You know that.
Yes.
It's a donation to the district, not to the boys. Go ahead.
To answer your question, PTSO for Huber this year, they want to do customizable jerseys. So they have asked if you are willing to purchase them, you can. If not, PTSO said they're going to put money in for those students who can't purchase those items.
But that brings up the question that if the person or the student wants to do that, then they will. They will buy their own.
Right.
Yeah, so I don't know where that comes in, that the district is going to provide that if the students are going to buy their own. 25 years ago, when I was the teacher, I would have my flag team, they would get together and buy their own T-shirts. And I had uniform skirts that we used year to year to year. And then they would keep them and they'd put their name on it. So that was good back in then. You know, it worked well.
Yeah, and I think what they meant is exactly that the kids want to be able to keep theirs, and so that is a way that, you know, but I believe both of you have clearly said it's not asked by you, it's initiated by either the athletes or the parents. And
Yeah, our PTSO members have a lot of student athletes, so that's why they came up with the idea. So they've been asking, you know, if you're willing to purchase this much.
And it's nice that they have the support from PTSO, yeah.
And then we also run into the problem where, because it's multiple sports, not every sport's gonna wanna be able to purchase because it does get pricey for the parents, obviously. So it's just, it just depends on the athletes and the parents.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
both of you very much.
Thank you.
And I don't want to put a lot of pressure on the administration, but just more sensitivity, that when they do make their allocations, that you're
enough
sensitive to
money
that.
there. Yep.
And Mr.
No school gets left behind, especially with all of the multitude of sports we have now.
Yeah.
Mr. Lindeman, did you want to say?
And I do have, as far as the donation from the Douglas Education Partnership Council, we do have Abe Villarreal and Ida Pedrego who are here representing the council, and in our initiative to really focus on third grade reading in our community, in all of our schools in Douglas, and so that's why the council gave these books. So they're here on behalf of the Douglas Partnership Council.
Do either one of you, Ida
Yes.
or Abe, or you want to say something regarding that?
Both of them. Ida has worked extremely hard with the council, and as a former retired counselor and a DUSD employee, she is an advocate for students and reading.
Thank you for the opportunity. But yes, we really do encourage the reading because we know that that is a lifetime skill that will improve for all of our students, especially for the students here at Douglas. Amen.
Thank you for accepting the donation. The Education Council is a group of educators and friends of education that meet regularly to try to improve certain areas that we focus on. One is third grade reading. So these books originally, we requested that the city of Douglas give to us, so they donated it to us. And then we decided that with the partnership of the superintendent's office that we could do a collaboration with a second grade teacher. So we're excited to kick that off as after today. So.
Very, very good. Thank you both very much, and thank you for being
Thank
here.
you.
Members of the board, do you have any questions for either one of them regarding that administration?
No, so we want to thank the city of Douglas also for the book donation, and we'll get together with the council and determine the distribution of books.
Thank you again. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for the interest in the schools, not only for the money, but the interest in the school. We have a motion?
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindeman?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes, item L, discussion action on the approval of the superintendent's performance goals. I think you did a good job of presenting them. Members of the board, was there anything you wanted to say regarding?
No, I asked Marco to go ahead and share them just for our community. They, of course, they are you know, it's a requirement for superintendents to have goals, but these goals, I don't work on them by myself. No superintendent could do it, so I just wanted to share it. I won't read everything, but performance goal number 1 obviously is based on the district goals. DUSD will work towards the support of core mission by all stakeholders, and it's on student learning and achievement. So our goal will be to improve the aggregate performance on the ASA, ACT for high school. And you heard a little bit about what Ms. Moen said about 3rd grade literacy. So that is a goal that we are incorporating to bring some language, early literacy language development skills to pre-K 3rd. So that is one of our goals, being led by our ESS director, Ms. Katie Walker, and the second K3, pre-K at 3 team. Performance goal number 2, graduation rate. Along with, this is the goal that I've been working along with Mrs. Rodriguez and as her goal, and it is to improve the graduation rate by 5%. And this will be something that we will have as a priority focus for the next 3 years, because we've got to do something relatively fast to try to improve the graduation rate, which was 76.68 this year. And there's a lot of factors that affect the graduation rate that we're going to address in our school plan. So that is the goal that I'm going to be working closely with Douglas High School. District goal number 3 is reflected upon the DOSD shall continue its communication and collaboration with all stakeholders, and again, safety and security being a top priority for the governing board and us as a district. And you have the very many things that I've mentioned. Very proud that we are going to be rolling out the anonymous tip line, so all of our students will be able to do an anonymous tip from a suicide to there's a fight in the cafeteria or somebody's going to get into a fight after school. That will serve as a line of communication to resolve some of these safety concerns. The Navigate 360 app is going to be rolling out, the weapons detectors, the district's safety threat assessment team led by Mr. Augie Ballesteros and Katie Walker. So there's a lot we are doing under this goal. And our district goal number 4, alongside with Mrs. Cox, is to really retain, recruit, develop high-quality staff, and also celebrate high-quality educators, focusing in on staff morale, which is always tough to navigate at every school. So those are my 4 goals.
Mr. Lindeman?
I move to approve the superintendent's performance goals.
Is there a second? By Ms. Salchow. Members of the board, discussion, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think Mrs. Samaniego has followed her goals well, and you can see the improvements. I was wondering if we were going to talk about the grades, the school grades.
Yes, we will.
that
We will
got.
have a work study session coming up. I've already talked to Mrs. Herrera and the school principals
Because
tonight.
I didn't see it on the agenda yet.
Yes, no, I mean, it's not on this agenda, but it's coming. We're going to give you, that'll be a work study session.
Oh, okay.
So
Well,
that'll
I
be-
thought they turned out really well.
Yes, and
Yeah,
I
so-
will say that, if I may, I was going to say it in my announcements at the end, but Clausen is an A school. All of our schools, the rest of the schools, with the exception of Sarah Marley and Joe Carlson, which are C schools, and the rest are B schools. And so we're very proud of the work that they did. We have, great work to do, but we're making small strides. So
Okay.
congratulations to all of our principals.
And I'd like to say that even though we are improving, but this is an ongoing type of
Oh,
thing.
yes,
So,
yes.
it's
There's
we're on the
there's
right
a lot
road.
more to education than just a test, and it's very difficult with the many factors that are affecting our community. Our, from transient populations, our families leaving. We determined that Joe Carlson has one of the most transient population. The same kids that are started in 1st grade are not the same kids in 3rd. They leave and they come back, they leave and they come back, and that's a huge factor for Joe Carlson. So we will be having a work study session, and Alma will be notifying you very soon of when that will be.
Thank you.
On performance goal 2, and by the way, I agree with Mr. Lindeman. You've done a really great job. I know that you're working extremely hard to make sure that these goals were put into place and that they're being met. But the only question I had, and it's just out of plain curiosity, with the raise of graduation rate goal of 5%, very, very good. Is this for completers from their senior year completers, or is this from the freshman cohort?
Well, it's from the senior, so what you see here, the table, the
Right.
4, 5, 6, 7 graduation rate. So on the year 4, that's the seniors, the actual seniors that completed, because you have some super seniors, or you have, and that affects overall, Mrs. Herrera knows very well, that affects the graduation rate. So part of the goal is to try to really work on the cohorts when they enter as a freshman so that they don't get behind. That is a huge part of what is affecting the graduation rate right now.
And this is just, this is not directly, well, it is related, forever. The national and the state graduation rate has been in the 70%. It's not anything new. So I think that trying to raise it by 5% is really admirable.
Yes.
Mr. Smith? The only one that always gets my attention, of course, all of them do, but the one on the qualified staff, and that's always a goal. But that is gonna be a very, very difficult one, because that is universal, and the universities are having a hard time recruiting. So if you don't get people in the College of Education, and universities aren't the only one, they have all these online programs but that is gonna be a difficult one. Do you see any change? Have you seen any statistics or data regarding that situation is improving with the recruitment of people into the education? And I know you've got that pathway program, right? And that's commendable, and that's a good one to have in district. But that one goal, I just want to point out, is going to be very difficult, okay? And of course, you're going to have a lot to do with that as well. All right, we have a motion on the floor?
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes. Discussion, item M, discussion action pursuant to policy BGF to temporarily suspend policy BGB, requiring 2 readings of the proposed policies prior to approval of the adoption in order to approve the following policy advisories immediately upon the first reading. And before you even get into it, let's just get a motion on the floor.
I move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, these are annual policy revisions or new policies that come out of generally the legislature, the State Board of Education, right?
Yes.
So, Ms. Samaniego, do you want to, anything you want to highlight? There's a lot
There's
to
a
be
lot.
digested there. The significant ones that generally apply to administration and staff, there's a couple there regarding the board. There's one on organizational meetings that change the seating capacities and those kinds of
Yes.
things.
Just with student discipline and suspension, which is a big one and a big concern for our administration. So we're happy to know that now schools can suspend children that are, in the lower grades for at least in a 2-day period. So for an incident, they can suspend for 2 days. Before, for the last couple of years, we couldn't suspend any of the kids that were below the fourth grade level. So those are some changes there. Suspending anybody such as like a long-term suspension is a little bit more difficult, but they listened to us and the educators because they really were tying our hands down and making it very difficult for our teachers who are experiencing and dealing with severe behavior issues at the elementary level. And elementaries don't have a BMR room or a in-house room, right? Where do you send them? You send them to your buddy teacher next door. And so this really helps the elementary principals a lot.
Okay, anything else you want to add?
No, there's not.
Okay, these are things generally that deal with the administration and their role is informing the board and keeping the board abreast of these things. We're not expected to remember all these things. We remember them and are advised of them, and by the administration, whenever it's pertinent that one of these things comes into play, then they're supposed to tell us how they're applicable. It's like board members going to all these law conferences and all these conferences that ASBA has. And you guys, we all, not me, I haven't been to any of them, but we all, and I only say that because I don't want to spend the district money, but, so that he can have more
To buy uniforms.
To buy uniforms for our BMS. But anyway, board members sit in those law conferences, it's very amusing to me, I've seen that for ages, right? And they go in there and they have all these high-powered attorneys come in and tell you all about schools and what's changed in the schools, and legislators come in and they tell you why they did it and all. And the thing is, you come home and don't remember anything, and if it's applicable in the future, then they're the ones that need to know. They're the ones that need to tell us how to apply it. So, I'm not besmirching at all ASBA and their money-making activities, but, have board members have a good time at those conferences anyway, right? So what can we say? Have a motion on the floor?
Yes, sir.
Roll call.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Elcha?
Yes.
Mr. Lindemann?
Yes.
Mr. Ramos?
Yes.
Mr. Breen?
Yes. Item N, discussion information on new policy regulation JLCD-RB, Narcan administration for suspected opioid overdose. Ms. Salas.
Yes, and so this is just a regulation for you information. You don't need to vote on it. But we do have a Narcan policy already, but Mrs. Walker and I had been discussing that there were procedures lacking, and how to, and it's sad to know that you need to now have a procedure in case you need to apply Narcan to students in our schools. So this will allow us to have procedures in place, which will be reviewed with the administration, nursing staff, so that we are clear as water.
Members of the board, any questions, comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. I appreciate ASBA when they try and give us recommendations for policy upgrades, because we have to keep up to date. I know a couple of these policies had to do with students bringing weapons on campus. Well, you got to do that nowadays. And of course, this one, you never know, and you have to keep up to date what happens. I think that we should have a Narcan. I know the police officers do. It's just one of those things nowadays that is needed, and I'm glad to have it. And I want to go just one step further and say that I'm waiting for our AI policies to come up, as Mr. Smith brought up, so we can discuss that. It's coming, and we got to know about it.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Because without those, those meetings, I mean, I learned so much more about the AI. Not so much about Narcan, but definitely about weapons and how things have changed and what the requirements are. And yes, we do get lots of information from our administration, and I do really appreciate it. But there's no such thing as too much information.
Mr. Smith?
I have nothing further.
I appreciate ASBA too for bringing us up to date on all these policies. What do we pay them a year, $15,000?
No, it's
How
not
much
that
do we pay them?
He doesn't remember.
I don't remember. Come on, you got $15,000.
We just renewed last year for the next 3 years. Mhm. Yes.
Well, anyway, they get paid very well for it. Not that I'm negating or contradicting anything you're saying, Mr. Lindemann, but I just, ASBA and some other things just really get to me sometimes. Information items, Ms. Samaniego.
Yes. We do have Veterans Day off Friday, November 10th. I was very excited this morning to learn that. Didn't remember that. So Thanksgiving break is November 20th, and it's a week off. And all district offices will be closed Thursday and Friday to celebrate in honor of Thanksgiving. Next regular board meeting, we are moving to December 12th. Because board members and I will be traveling to the ASBA conference with Ray.
Ray, would you like to come? Do you want me to put you on
Yes.
FaceTime or speakerphone?
Yes.
No, it's great. You guys are great.
I'm just poking you.
No, you all come back all well-informed and enthusiastic all the time, you know, especially with all those motivational speakers and everything. It's great. You know, I've always said I'm antediluvian, right? So way back and at my day with ASBA. Anything else from Mr. Luna? Anything you want to add
No, sir.
after all that discussion?
Well,
Of course, you know, I'm just having a good time with it. Denise,
He said
anything?
he was very tired and exhausted from all the school trips that he's had, and he's catching up with work.
Anything else?
No.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
By Mr. Lindeman.
second.
By Ms. Salchi. All those in favor signify by saying aye.